Welcome to Davinci Resolve tips and tricks. Today I'm gonna be showing you how to build looks for a whole project. Here I put together a few clips of a video I shot about 2 years ago. This is not how the video ended looking like or being edited. You can see the shot. Actually, let me get a still. You can see that these two shots are already in a log state, like they already don't match in the white balance. This one's a bit more, it's warmer, and this one's cooler. So this is something that we will need to match on a clip by clip basis. But what I want to explain now is the overall look. So how to create a look for the whole film or video. If we had a film or a short film or whatever with different scenes, and they just to grab to select, just as I explained before, going to Lightbox and creating a group of a hero shot for each scene, and then just have this on the timeline. Okay, so this is on a clip level, and let me go to the edit. So it's just back to back, you know, the 4 clips. But then if you go to the color tab, by default you have, and you can see here as well, clip or timeline. So clip is clip by clip, and timeline is something that will, us maybe we're used to work with adjustment layers, something, you know, that you will chuck on top of the whole film as an overall thing. In this case we have this option, which is just going on a timeline level, and whatever I do here, and this is just for presentation sake, it will apply to every single clip. So in this way, not this way, in this way we will be creating what we call a look. We will be preparing a look that will affect the whole video, the whole film, and from then on, once we're settled on the look, we'll be going into clip by clip to affect those nuances that needs to be addressed on a clip by clip basis. But this is sort of the main, this is what will unify the whole film as such. I'm not gonna be doing it, you know, this is already done, and I don't want to spend much time. I just wanted to explain that more or less what's the main approach for films. There's even people that will create the look of a show or a film, and that's their job, just creating the look, you know, for something stylistic like the Joker. I think it was Jill Bogdanovich, the one who created the look for the Joker. Sometimes it's created after the film is done. Sometimes it's created before. So going with you know, with a DP, doing some camera tests and develop this look, so the DP and the director can see on the monitor as they're shooting. Sometimes when it's very elaborate, it will be done before the film, and some other times it will be, you know, the first thing to tackle after the film is done or as the dailies coming. So I mean, there's many. This is sort of a simple one and a good one to start with that I recommend. I'm going to go one by one what I did with this. So yeah, the first thing I did is convert the S-Log3 to Rec 709. Then I chose a film emulation lot. In this case I use this one, but there's here some film looks from Davinci that work on a Cineon converter. Then I will work on the film curve. I tend to only work on the luminance because I found that by doing this you will move all together, and obviously if you move them all together it only affects luminance because the same amount of all these 3 will create white, so it shouldn't affect colorimetry. But I find that it does affect saturation, and I just want to work on the luminance channel. So I created an S curve, and I always do raise the blacks a little bit if I don't want the blacks to be crushed, and the same thing with the highlights. So just a bit of a lift on the lows and a bit of the gain, just bring it down, looking at how it's responding in this image, and I check that it's working nicely and creating what I want in all the shots, on all my hero shots. So again, I'm bringing nice contrast without clipping the darks. You can see here in the waveform, nothing's touching 0, and I created by lifting this. And same with highlights, I'm copying actually highlights fairly low at 80, and then I'm creating color separation. That is also another characteristic of this film look that is not, you know, not just add contrast but luminance by going to the blacks and the whites, but by creating color separation. Most of the time you don't even have to touch the saturation option, because it will create enough perceptive saturation if you start expanding this color, separating say blues to warms, teals from oranges, opposites. So what I've done here is inject, you can see here, a bit of blue in the shadows and a bit warmer towards the highlights. Again, you can see here skin tones. And again, check that it works on all the shots. Yeah, so that's the look we're creating, and apparently it's working all right. And then if I feel that, in this case, in this particular shot, when I went on individual basis, I was feeling that the blues were too vibrant, and that's another characteristic of film, which is the most vibrant or saturated colors don't tend to be the brightest. So you can't have a color that is very saturated and very bright. So in film, those saturated colors tend to be a bit darker. So again, I felt that this blue was too bright, too saturated, so I didn't touch the saturation, but just brought the brightness down. Same thing with the reds. Here it was too punchy, so I didn't change the chrominance, the hue. I just brought it down. Now it's becoming more in one, more, I don't know, to my eye it looks just better. And then the lamp, which was a practical, and I didn't have any ND filter or any controllable bulb, so I couldn't do anything on set, so I just had to bring this highlights down. And you can see, because I'm trying to cap everything to 80, so that brings everything into place as well. And I added a bit of negative feel. Try to think it more photographically rather than maybe leave it like that and say, okay, I need more attention here and add the power mask and bring the levels here. Just if I had more time, just try to think what a DP or a gaffer would have done on set, which is like, I had the key on this side. I'm motivated by the lamp, and you can see on her face. But then obviously I didn't have any grid or anything or any flags like that would have stopped the spill on the white wall. So I'm just creating that digitally and bringing that down, and that creates more attention here. By doing that, we're concentrating just where the light is actually hitting the face and nothing else behind, nothing else of interest. So that's the only thing I'm doing here, apart from exposure, balance, and these touches here on a node basis. So again, bottom line for me is for you to know this option that we have some node graphics at a timeline level. This is what I did to this specific film. Let me show you a different example. Okay, here's another example. This is something very, very stylistically shot and really defined gamma of colors. So these are the raw files. This is actually ARRI raw. I'm converting them. This is ARRI white gamma 3, ARRI log C3. If you're just wondering when you open this, what's the C4? This is a new gamma that's been used by the new ARRI 35. So all the other, the ARRI, this was shot with an Alexa Mini. Most Alexas ARRI cameras will still use a gamma 3 and log C3. And if we come here to a timeline stage, what I'm gonna do, and I touched on this before, but I'm gonna show it to you now. I'll be using one of the LUTs that comes with Davinci, which is a Rec 709 Kodak 23A3. I'm using the D60, which is the most neutral. And as soon as you apply it, it's super harsh. So these are meant to be working with a Cineon input. So what I'm doing here on this in stage, I'm moving the Rec 709 Gamma 2.4, which is our output here. So grabbing it as an input, so that's what's coming into this node. And I'm gonna output a Cineon film log Gamma. So as soon as I enable this, now it's starting to look much better, and we can see what this is actually doing. And we're already in a really good, let me get the clips and compare them, in a really good stage here. This is without, you can see on the low lights, yeah, everything was muddier in the low light, and now it's starting to be more defined. You can see it in this blue here, way too bright for a film look. I'm gonna be working a bit more on that contrast, so I'm gonna start building from the back. So I'm gonna call these just curves. I'm gonna just use the luminance. So I'm just gonna apply a nice S curve. Let me do before and after. I'm gonna probably bring this a little bit lower. I'm gonna create another one downstream again. I'm gonna go a little split or split tone. I'm gonna start working on the blue channel. I'm gonna create an anchor point, pressing Alt Command there, and creating a bit of a rainbow here. So I'm injecting, look what it. I mean, this is a completely different look already. So I'm gonna get there, but in a different way. But even if you come here to the vector scope, look what's doing, and I was talking about it before. So you can see that all the colors live in this half here, and in these two quadrants, and they all tend to be magenta or blue, right? But we can clearly see that the lights are supposed to be, you know, quite tungsten. As soon as I apply this, you can see how we're starting to create that interest, which is split toning, which is, you know, part of the image tends to go towards the blue and the other part tends to go towards the red and the yellows. Yeah, and we go from, as I said, mostly blue or magenta to start giving to those orange tungsten colors that, and split toning, and you know, the attention is much more interesting all of a sudden. And up to this point, we're looking at an image and we say, oh, this, you know, it's so stylistic, really good, well shot. It looks, you know, the stage, everything looks so cool. I did that. It's like, wow, you know, just we start separating those colors, creating interest, creating contrast with chrominance. But I still think I went too far. Yeah, because that's went too far. I'm gonna straighten this curve up to about there. So I'm just injecting more blues in the shadows, just so it's not completely blue. I'm gonna add a bit of green, so it's a bit more teal. I'm gonna start injecting reds and go back to the green. Maybe bring the greens so it becomes more yellow, and then finally I'm gonna go back to the blues and just go opposite direction, literally separating the colors until, you know, to a point where we're happy with. So this is our original that was already looking, it's like we're going from log, it's like, wow, you know, we can leave there and it's already, you know, working. We added a film look, so we added that extra curve for, you know, the extra punch. And when we started separating the colors, voila, you know, everything comes to life. I hope you enjoy this tutorial. This is how to create looks within Davinci Resolve. Until next time.